Welcome back, y'all, to another episode of Tony Plays The Binding of Isaac. Oh god, nope, that was an accident. You know what, why not? Why not, man? Let's have fun for one. Anyways, hope y'all are doing good. I'm chilling. Honestly, just going about my day nice and lovely. Hope you guys are too. Nothing too crazy going on today. I'm gonna be real with y'all. I've just been, to be completely honest, I've been crazy caught up in Arc Raiders recently. I don't know what exactly it is, bro. Cause I'm gonna be real with you, I didn't think like the extraction shooter pipeline kind of existed, but it's got me in its grasp. I'm gonna be honest with you. The beta to, and I don't mean beta like, what's the word I'm thinking of? You know what I mean? Like beta male kind of dude, just like straight up video game beta to full release, but like content is actually there and the game is actually good. It feels weird slash in that weird kind of gamer sphere to say, but it really does feel like Arc Raiders has genuinely been, as of like recently, it's been one of the few rare what feels like complete launches. You know what I mean? Arc Raiders, I know it's an extraction shooter, and extraction shooters kind of like inherently have that sort of, they're constantly getting updated with stuff vibe essentially to them. But I'm gonna be real with y'all. Arc Raiders, to me, it feels like if they never added any content updates to that game again, genuinely just playing it, you know what I mean? I would still find myself playing it for like a decent amount of time because there's just so much to do slash so much to play. It's crazy. And the reason I say it's crazy is because, like, once again, this is entering that weird like gamer sphere or whatever, where I don't want to be that guy that's like, games now are horrible. You know what I mean? Where it's like, oh, games that come out today, they're all bad or they're all mid, whatever, yada yada. But genuinely, at least it feels like a pretty decent amount of games in the past couple of years slash, you know, months have come out and there's been issues. Monster Hunter Rise, God, I'm cooked. Monster Hunter Wilds came out and that game was like, content-wise, it definitely feels like there's not enough for a full $60 package. I might even be wrong. It might not be $60. I don't remember. I think it probably is. Heyo. I'll take that. Watch this. You ready? Watch this. I tried. But yeah. For a $40 game that is Arc Raiders, it feels like, one, there's a lot of content. Two, optimization is genuinely, it's there. Like, I'm not even playing when I say this. It feels like the game runs well, dude. It looks good art style wise and just straight up graphics wise. It looks solid. Nothing stands out to me as like, wow, this looks horrible. So the game looks like, you know, fire, and it runs pretty like butter smooth, dare I say. And it's got crossplay, so like, what more do you really need? I'm gonna be real with y'all. I'm gonna keep it a stack. It's like I'm just surprised, you know what I mean? It feels weird to say. It feels like needlessly glazy, or I don't even think glazy is a real word, but I'm saying it. It feels just, I guess, weird to have a game come out. I don't know. Nah, you know what? Why does it feel weird? I should be ecstatic that I'm playing a game that I enjoy and love so deeply. The game came out and it's just great. It's an amazing game. It's fun to play with friends. It's fun to play solo. It's interesting, and there's, you know, they're adding content as the game progresses. Only a few days or whatever after launch, there's like a real roadmap, you know? There's a genuine roadmap for, hey, we want to add this around this time. We're gonna do this around this time. funny enough, you know, there's one thing I feel weird about talking about all the time. I do feel weird talking about Destiny 2 all the time. You know what I mean? Leave it to a Destiny 2 fan to talk about how much they don't like the state the game is in, yet keep talking and yapping about it. But as of a few months ago, I believe it was September, someone had inquired about a roadmap that was potentially releasing for the game. And one of the community managers said, and I do not blame this community manager at all. I want this to be insanely clear. I do not blame this community manager at all, because I am like familiar with this person, you know? As someone who's a longtime Destiny fan, someone who likes to be positive about the game, yet I can also acknowledge its flaws, you know. I am well aware of DMG_04. To me, personally, DMG is a great guy. Absolute goat of the community, a pillar of the community in my opinion. Because he plays the game, he interacts with people, you know, he's a great person. But just with most community managers in a video game, for some reason, Destiny specifically also, the community likes to blame everything or come with ill will / ill intent towards these people. But is what it is, you know, what can you do? You can try your best to make people, you know, play nice, be kind, but at the end of the day, it's not really up to you if that's something they're gonna follow or not, you know what I mean? But someone had inquired about a roadmap that was supposed to be coming out, and DMG essentially said, hey, look, we'll get this roadmap out to you guys as soon as possible, ASAP. And it has now been, what, 2 months, considering that was September and we are in November? 2 months and not a single response. No, hey, here's an update regarding the roadmap, or here is the roadmap. Just straight up nothing for 2 months. And it is not a point of contention, I guess, because I don't think there's any, you know, debating it. It's just straight up like, that's just kind of bad, you know? You would hope that there would at least be an update or something, you know what I mean? Hey guys, we've been having a hard time with the roadmap, give us a few, you know, give us this more time, or something like along those lines. But no, there's literally been like, it's just radio silent in regards to getting anything in that sense. So everyone's kind of just been like, this kind of blows, you know what I mean? And do I blame them? Not at all. But it's weird to see that the point we're at with Destiny at the moment, and then look to Arc Raiders, new game just released. Many different things from the beta compared to the full game have been changed, so they were listening. Not only that, also in full game, they've released an entire roadmap for the plans of the coming months ahead in regards to content. We're gonna get more Arc enemies around like this time, around like the winter December time. We're gonna get like an event, something like that. It's like a Christmas event or like holiday event, something along those lines. That's what it looks like, at least. And I mean, genuinely, like, looking at it, you know what I mean? Like, just straight up look at it, take it for what it's worth. Look and see and think. That's kind of crazy, right? You know what I mean? Like, that's kind of crazy that compared to Destiny 2, it's, what's the word I'm thinking of? You know what I mean? It's like, man, they kind of got this down pat, bro. You feel me? It's a little crazy. But yeah, besides that, I don't blame Destiny 2. They did reveal a trailer today with more Renegade stuff, but I'm just not interested really in Renegades. I feel like the only driving factor in the whole Renegades deal is, hey guys, it's a Star Wars based like collab slash DLC. But I've said it before during like the initial announcement of Renegades and whatnot and showing off of it. But I myself, I'm not too crazy fond of like a Star Wars kind of deal. You know what I mean? I know there are definitely more people out there that are. So I'm hoping, one, Renegades is at least a solid DLC that people can play slash enjoy. Because if they play it slash enjoy it and, you know, we can maybe get more people playing the game again, that's good. The game won't die. But the way it's looking now, it's not looking too fire, dare I say. I guess not looking too fire. That would imply that I am dissatisfied with what I'm seeing, although I don't know what I see, you know? So yeah, honestly, the trailer for Renegades came out. I'm not too interested. But for the sake of the game, I hope it does well. You know what I mean? For the sake of Destiny, I hope it does well. I just hope that all of this honestly negative reception to Destiny in the meantime and stuff like that, I hope it's been like a wake-up call. You know what I mean? I don't want Destiny to be a fixed when it's too late situation where, hey guys, we did all the things that you guys asked for, but it's like, oh, sorry man, you know, no one cares anymore. No one wants to play the game anymore, you feel me? I hope we don't get to that point. That's all I say. That's all I'm gonna say. I just hope we never get to that point. But besides that, yeah, I'm gonna be real with you. I've been having a blast on Arc Raiders as of recent. And I'm gonna be real with y'all, that's where all my time has been going this past few days. I didn't even record Isaac yesterday. I had to use a backlog episode. That's how crazy cooked slash like, that's how much the game got my ass. You know what I mean? Although I will say, I actually did, it's not all I've been playing recently, because I did mention I bought Battlefield, I think it was last episode. I have been playing it with my friend, and I'll be real with y'all. It's pretty good. And it's funny saying that, because I recently saw a tweet or whatever. Granted, I don't try to take anything I see online at like super face value or whatever. But I saw a tweet that was, compared to every other Battlefield game on Steam, Battlefield 6 is now the second worst rated Battlefield game. And I'm gonna be real with y'all, I genuinely cannot understand why. There are some issues with the progression system I have, you know, I've made that known. But besides that, gameplay wise, and I will concede, you know, I actually do, I'm aware of one issue. Why? That is, people are not a fan of the maps. Might be thinking, Tony, what are you talking about? It feels like map variety isn't crazy strong, or at least maybe some maps are like weighted more. Bungie does that with Destiny PvP, but I'm pretty sure some maps might be weighted more than other maps to like come up in queue. But not only that though, it's just for Conquest, at least that's the main issue from what I'm aware of. People are not a fan of the maps in Conquest. They seem just too small for what's going down. And I gotta be real with you, I kind of gotta agree. I think some of the maps are pretty tiny, and it's not a good thing. But I've always been like a Rush head, you know what I mean? I personally love playing Rush more than I do Conquest in any Battlefield game. Not to say Conquest sucks, but just Rush is just goated, you know? I like that aggressive playstyle. So I've been having, honestly, I've been having a fine time. It feels like the maps have been designed for not like the crazy large Conquest, but the maps are kind of like low-key perfect slash solid for Rush, bro. Yes, actually. Realizing how low my health is right now, yeah, low, bro. I'm gonna need you. Death? Yeah, sure. I suck at Isaac. But besides that, I'm gonna be real with y'all. Besides that, like one issue regarding the maps or whatever, I'm having a hard time finding issues with Battlefield 6. It's genuinely an insanely fun game to play. It's like it's crazy goated. I'm not even playing, man. Battlefield 6 is like crazy good. I'm surprised. You know what I mean? I am an avid EA hater, brother. But Battlefield 6 came out and I'm loving it, dog. It's kind of like so good it makes me forget that like I'm playing an EA game. You know what I mean? It's a little crazy, yeah, I know, but I'm being for real. When the game is so goated, you forget that you're playing like one of the worst company games, like, or you're playing a game from one of the worst companies that like to ever exist, bro. And that's no joke. But yeah, to be honest with y'all, I'm having a good time. I've been having a great time on Battlefield. It's actually pretty wicked. And all this has essentially led me to, I guess, enter my, like, I don't know what arc you'd call this, you know what I mean? Something about shooter games like that, it just scratches that, like, competitive itch, you know? I've mentioned, this ain't the first time, I've mentioned multiple times that I am not a, what's it called? Or like, I love playing competitive games in that sense, you know? I like to activate the competitive bone in my body because there's just something fun about like doing that, you know what I mean? Granted, that's not to say that like I don't think I'd ever try to commit crazy hard, because I feel like if you want to be an esport professional or whatever, you know what I mean? Like someone who is really good at like this one game, you got to commit to a level of like obsession. You know what I mean? If you want to be really good, it's kind of like athletes in a way, where if you want to get really good at this one sport, you want to get really good at this one thing, you have to essentially just be obsessed with it. Now, that is, all right, I will say, I will concede on this. That is not to say that, oh, Tony thinks, you know, being an esports person or whatever is just as difficult as like wanting to be in the NBA or in the NFL or MLB, you know, stuff like that. I'm gonna be real with y'all. I think there's a discussion or something. I think it's kind of like unk discussion. I feel weird saying unk, like if for regards to a discussion, but like I haven't seen this discussion brought up in like forever. I'm gonna be so honest with y'all. But you guys remember that point in time when, or maybe it wasn't as prevalent as I think, but there were at least this sort of hint of an argument in regards to like esports, comparing it to, I guess you would call like real sports, you know what I mean? In that sense. And you might be thinking, Tony, what the hell are you talking about? But I'm being for real. Like, I remember this is many moons ago, bro, like years back. But I remember it was me and my family. We had gone to Reno just to, you know, have a little nice weekend over at Reno. And when we went, I remember sitting in the hotel room with my brother. I forget what we were doing. I think we were just kind of chilling. Nothing too crazy, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like we were waiting for anything or whatever. We were literally just like chilling. And I remember seeing on the TV, because when you're at a hotel room, I don't know what it is, bro. Maybe you guys might be aware of this, or you guys might think, Tony, what the hell are you talking about? But there's something about being in a hotel room and watching TV, you know what I mean? Like watching TV normally slash at your home or whatever, like cable, it's like, you know, it is what it is. It's just whatever. But there's something different about watching cable TV on like, what's it called? On like the hotel room TV, you know what I mean? Cable TV usually it's like a one times multiplier. But if you start watching cable TV in a hotel room, bro, I'm not even joking, it's got like the 3 times damage mult on it. It's actually insane. I don't know who came up with these stats. This is not properly balanced, but that's how it is. No joke. And so I was watching TV on the cable, like in the hotel room or whatever, and I saw it wasn't a sports channel, but they were doing a broadcast of like a CS game, and I'm not playing, you know what I mean? Like it was crazy to see, because you're not out here thinking, ah yes, a CS broadcast, like that's like what they would show on TV, you know what I mean? I remember seeing it and just thinking to myself, man, Counter-Strike has gotten like crazy far. Slash also thinking like, what's up? You know what I mean? I can't believe that they're showing this on TV. I didn't know CS had it like that. They're treating this like it's a real sport. And I feel bad saying that, because I don't want to discredit anyone that is in that or feel strongly about that. But I'm being genuine when I say this. And you wouldn't think, as someone who plays video games all the time, you wouldn't think you would see on the TV, on a sports channel, esports, a CS match. It was just insane. It was genuinely just insane. I remember looking to my brother and just saying, what's up? Like, they have this on here? This is on TV? Also, this floor is like complete horseshit. What was up with that, man? He started enraging beforehand. I saw that. I saw you, bro. I forgot I had school bag, and I was not expecting to actually pick it up. I was hoping to pick it up and then re-roll it. Pick it up, get like a spirit heart from it, and then re-roll it. You know? Instead, I just own this now. My damage is pretty like ass. But I feel as though I have lost the plot slightly. It was just crazy to see, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. I never thought I would ever see something like esports on TV. So there definitely was, at least at some point, a push or a sort of, what do you call it? Agenda seems like the wrong term here, but it's been on my mind recently due to seeing One Piece fans talk about it in regards to this rise in book talk people. For the uninitiated, book talk people are essentially people who make TikToks covering books and you know, and the like. It's pretty self-explanatory, actually. I don't think you guys needed me to explain. But apparently in the book talk space, One Piece has been starting to gain popularity slash, you know, people have been more interested in it. And so I've seen a lot of memes in regards to that. Some of them essentially comparing TikTok or book talk analyzers and just making claims that they're gonna be, what's the word I'm thinking of? They're gonna be a little taken aback in regards to discussion because there's no deeper look when it comes to anime talk and their anime like One Piece and whatnot. Instead, you get people talking about maintaining the agenda. What does that mean? I don't know. I've never played. I've never watched it outside of in middle school when I watched 80 episodes and I thought, man, nothing has happened. This is boring as hell, and I turned it off. But outside of that, I don't really have too much interactions with One Piece. No disrespect, no hatred towards it. I don't interact with it like that. But from what I've gathered is that there's not much discussion had in regards to your usual book discussion, like themes or the like, you know, like your intellectual kind of discussion, book media literacy and whatnot. Instead, from what I've seen / picked up, is there is something called maintaining the agenda, and of course in every anime / manga is like power scaling to an infuriating degree. It's crazy. It's a little criminal, if I'm gonna be honest with y'all. It just seems a little criminal to think about, but it's very funny. Anyways, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on with maintaining the agenda. Back to the topic at hand. But there was a push, you know? People were trying to get esports into the, saying real world feels mean, but it also is kind of what I'm talking about. Where there was this push to try and get things such as esports into the mainstream, into the popular, to hopefully have people make money off of these things. I remember Twitch had partnered. Also, I was not expecting Dingle to just like push through like that. I think Dingle should die. There was this what's it called? There was a partnership, I guess you would call it, or this thing where Twitch had signed like $1 million deal or whatever with Blizzard to host Overwatch tournaments on the site, and nobody gave a damn. And from what I know, I think they like actually lost money in regards to that. But at a certain time, I think I want to say the 2015, 2016, 2017 kind of era, I think I might be able to gauge around that time, there was definitely an uptick / interest, I guess you would say, in what's up in the esports scene as a whole. And I'm gonna be real with y'all, just straight up my opinion. I understand, I guess, what the push kind of was, because esports, at least League of Legends, and at one point, definitely in Korea, StarCraft, you know, things like that were popping off. But I just feel like, at least in the West, I don't know if video games are too new or if the West just doesn't embrace change like that or whatever, but there is definitely a severe lack of interest in that kind of deal. And I'm gonna be honest with y'all, just straight up, I'm with it too. I don't really have much interest in regards to esports. The most interest I have in regards to esports is, this isn't even esports, is fighting games. But esports as a whole, watching people play competitive Valorant against each other and whatnot, it just rubs me the wrong way. It feels like the incorrect term here, because it doesn't do anything bad to me. But there's obvious, there's like an indifference. That's what it is. There's an indifference when it comes to esports for me. I couldn't really care, you know? I just couldn't care less. It's a speed down, which kind of sucks. But I mean, yeah. I guess at some point there was a push for that. I don't think it's happening anymore, you know? Like, I haven't seen any sort of mention in regards to esports or anything like that in recent memory, besides Evo. But once again, I've already said it, I just don't really keep up with things like that. I kind of only, I guess, really even barely keep up with Evo. Not saying anything wrong with, you know, Evo or whatever. It's just, I don't know. I'd rather be playing fighting games than watching them, I guess is what I'm trying to say. But it's really kind of crazy to me that that push did happen. Because I never thought I'd see the day. As someone who loves video games, and as someone who likes playing video games competitively, a part of me deep down just kind of thought this wouldn't happen though, you know? We're not gonna be, I don't think society is gonna be out here signing people onto orgs the way that you would sign someone or draft someone on a team in the NBA or the NFL, you know what I mean? It just, it didn't seem like it had the guts, bro, to happen. Maybe that's just the society's view on esports as a whole, though, or difference of opinions, you know what I mean? Like, some people would say or look at and be like, esports, that's like a real sport, you know what I mean? The people, those esport gamers, those are like, they're athletes in that sense, where they commit to their game, or they commit to, you know, what it is they do / play, and they're good at it. There are some who are leagues above others in ways you can't imagine, you know what I mean? And honestly, I will say, I think you have your right to think that. You have your right to believe that people playing esports are on the same level as people playing basketball and whatnot. But I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't think it's the same. I think there's like a crazy huge gap difference. You know what I mean? I genuinely think there's like a crazy huge gap, like when it comes to that kind of talk, thinking that kind of, you know, that sort of rhetoric or whatever. It just, it's not at all the same. I guess it's the same kind of argument you would have for people in chess, you know? Would people ask, though, do you consider chess a sport? And I don't know, you know what I mean? I've never really given the proposition much thought, but that's because I don't really care too much in that sense. But some people might be ride or die on that hill, you know? Some people might be ride or die on the chess as a sport kind of thing, or on esports are like a sport. There you go. I was trying to find like the proper angle to hit, bro. I'm gonna be honest with y'all, there's just something, what's the word I'm thinking of? There's just something about esports as a whole. I can't, not that I can't dig it, but I can't see the argument for it being a sport. Slash, I don't think I could see the side, you know what I mean? I don't think I could see that side. In my honest opinion. I'm gonna hold on to this chaos card. I'm gonna use it on the lamb if possible. See if I can't finesse myself an easy win or something like that, you know? I don't know, man. You know what I mean? I don't know. Interesting thoughts. Interesting stuff, whatnot. Or maybe some people would be like, Tony, boring as shit. Whatever. But yeah, the whole... Are esports real sports? Are people who play esports athletes? I'm gonna be honest with y'all. I think that's kind of been said and done for a while now. And I think most people will agree that it's probably like a resounding no. There's just too crazy of a difference, you know what I mean? The level of dedication you have to a sport compared to a video game is, it's just like way different. It doesn't feel correct. It doesn't feel right to compare the two, because they're just calibers, leagues apart. You know what I mean? But I guess then this is where I'd hop on the you know, the second part or whatever, the other like mention, and that is fighting games. I don't know. CS, whatever. I'm not gonna sit here and I'm just gonna give my opinion. I'm not gonna defend it. I'm just gonna say what I want to say, and if you agree or disagree with me, you know, that's 100% your decision, bro. We're not here to argue, but I don't know. Call me a little crazy, I guess. Fighting games to me, just feel way different. At least because of the fact that it's just technical to a level I never would have imagined, you know? Maybe you don't know. Maybe you guys don't know fighting games like that. The commitment that I would think you would put into a fighting game or whatever versus a game like CS or whatever, to me, there is a way larger difference there. Although, if you were to take my argument, at the end of the day, they're all just games and they still don't really hold up. But me personally, at least, I find something about fighting games way more interesting. Maybe it's just the fighting game format as a whole, compared to watching a whole match of CS or a whole match of dudes playing freaking Search and Destroy Call of Duty or something like that, you know? Trying to make COD an esport or something like that. It's just way more digestible slash enjoyable to watch comparatively. And it's not even close, you know what I mean? Like, it's crazy to say all this because it's not even close. You could have a 10 times easier time trying to watch slash follow a fighting game than you would watching multiple different POVs of an entire team. You know what? I'll be real with y'all. I don't think it's a huge factor, but it's definitely something that I noticed that may be. There's something about watching people play a team sport, something like that, and having the camera, you could see everything, you know what I mean? You could see it all going down. But there is just something, I guess, maybe slightly fatiguing of having to switch angles, switch camera in a fighting game so often, because you're looking at multiple different people's POVs. And it's not like fatiguing, or like, I guess it is slightly fatiguing or draining, because you will switch to a new POV and essentially have to retake in all your settings. Although that is why the spectator cam does exist in many of those things, but still. It just, I don't know, bro. I don't know. I just don't vibe. I guess I just don't vibe with it. I vibe way more with watching fighting games. I mean, fighting games are amazing after all. Maybe I'll say maybe it's their formatting, but I don't even know. At least I will say fighting games definitely easily seem way more approachable to watch compared to anything else. Also, that is kind of crazy. Face to face. I'm gonna be scared. I'm gonna be real with y'all. I don't know, man. The fighting games are just cool. I've been playing them for a long time. I've also been playing shooters for a long time. Like, don't get it twisted. I will say easily first shooter I've ever played is Halo, but first shooter I think I've ever played with the intention of multiplayer, because I've said this story before and I will say it multiple times over. I love Halo. Halo's great. Actually, have I mentioned this before? Halo is great. I absolutely am in love with the game as a whole, and I love the multiplayer side of it. However, I never got to really play multiplayer like that when I was young, at least not online, due to the fact that my brother, he was super hyper competitive, and I'm talking, he was like really good at Halo 3. Like really good at Halo 3. And so he never wanted me to hop on and play on Xbox Live because I would be using his account, because we couldn't afford to buy Xbox Live for multiple accounts. I mean, shit, could kind of barely afford to have it for one account. But my brother, he's, you know, he got a job solely to pursue video games, pretty much solely to pursue playing them, at least. And that's where I gotta say here that it's like, my brother is crazy into his KD, you know? He was crazy into keeping everything good. You can't mess with his KD, anything like that. So, what did I do? I never touched it, you know? I didn't want to incur my brother's wrath or whatever. So I decided, yeah, I'll listen to him. Why not? You know, what do I got to lose to listen to my brother? I never played multiplayer, but he did a lot, and I mean a lot. Like, he tells me this all the time, and I remember him doing this, is that he would make accounts and sell them to people that wanted to have like crazy high rank accounts, you know what I mean? If you wanted to flex that you had a high rank or whatever, he would hop on their account, or he would make an account just to rank up and sell it. And, you know, to people that wanted to solely, they didn't care about actually playing. They just wanted to be like, hey guys, look, I'm like a brigadier general, you know? In Halo 3, I'm crazy goated, aren't I? It's genuinely crazy to think about. I'm gonna be real. I think it's genuinely crazy to think about, because it's It's something I never thought I would hear slash see that like my brother would be doing, you know what I mean? But it's really, really freaking funny. And so yeah, that's what he did. He was crazy cracked at Halo. That's all I gotta say. I know, glazing my brother aside, you know, besides the fact that he was crazy cracked at Halo, I'm gonna be real with y'all. I never got to play online like that. So the first game I ever really did get to kind of play online because my brother didn't care too much, or at least he kind of stopped caring so much, is Black Ops 2. I'm like 99% sure Black Ops 2 was my first ever Call of Duty game that I could actually play, or online game that I could actually play multiplayer because my brother didn't care. Or I forget. No, because I definitely used his account. But I remember he just didn't care like that. So I played Black Ops 2, and I remember I used to go knife only just to mess around because it was so fun. And I also thought it was cool that you could get a camo for the knife. You know what I mean? I'm like, man, this is wicked. Can you die? That'd be really funny if I threw that into me and I died. No, I'm not victory lapping that, and I am not taking on anymore. But yeah, Black Ops 2 is my first multiplayer game, and I you know, although you could say Tony, that's you know, not even that long ago. I've been playing shooters for the rest of my life beforehand. I just never played competitively like that. But I mean, I don't know. I mean, same goes for fighting games. I mean, I love fighting games, but I never really got to play online like that because I didn't want to. I would only like really play versus friends and family. Whatever. Anyways, want to thank y'all for watching. If you guys did enjoy, I greatly appreciate it. Hope you guys have a good day and or good night, depending on the time you're viewing this. Catch y'all on the next one. Peace out.